Welcome to Cardboard Pixels, a magazine-style podcast with reviews, news, interviews, tall tales and small ideas.
Oh no!
And it's all for you guys, the table-flipping, joystick-waggling, dice-chucking, boss-beating, card-drafting, lag-blaming, world-building, treasure-hunting nerd hearts everywhere. This first episode, we cover reviews for Toy Battle and Monstrolicious. We have a story time about my life in a gaming clan. We have a Desert Island Gamer interview, and we have an opinion piece where I consider the fact that online FPS games only become much better the more people bugger off onto the latest edition. I'm your host for this one, Neil Basin, but this will be a shared adventure, and we hope, with all our hearts, you find it at least adequate. I always wanted to be in a clan. Not some kilt-wearing, willy-waving, blue-faced hijinks, mind you. I always wanted to be in a gaming clan. Yep, I am that level of nerd. And proud. But hear me out. The thought of going into online video game warfare as part of a well-oiled killing machine with slicker moves than the 70s Brazilian football team and more chops than Bruce Lee was deeply appealing. It sounded dramatic and exciting, like some global band of brothers fighting for the clan name side by side until the bitter end. And I am a fan of Band of Brothers, and it sounded like a band of brothers. The reality, however, was a little different. There were indeed well-oiled machines at play, but they'd generally been oiled by cheap beer and Jack Daniels. There was also drama, but it was more soap opera than theatre of war, and we were a band of brothers fighting side by side, glued together by hope, struggle, and distant glory, until one of the band disconnected mid-war to go and fix his shed. Like I say, the reality was a little different. Here's my story of life in a clan, the ups, the downs, the weirdness, and the dodgy sheds. Within only a month or so after breaking free from the single-player cocoon and fluttering like a very uncertain butterfly into the new world of online play, I had applied to become part of a clan. It was a weird move on my part, as by and large I approached talking on the mic the same way I approach invites to social events and bumping into acquaintances in the street. Awkward, stilted, and slightly fueled by gibberish. Also, when I say applied to join a clan, I don't mean I sent off a CV of notable game-related accomplishments to the clan leaders. You know, like the time I held out for a 0-0 draw on FIFA, or managed 12 minutes of VR without feeling violently ill. No. My application was in the form of an introduction on the clan forums. All clans had forums, by the way. It was a vital avenue to argue and whinge outside the actual gaming time. And it was also a place for introductions. The clan I shuffled towards was called the Army of Orion. Whether that was in reference to the stars and universe or the shitty old car from the 80s, I never found out. But I tentatively posted this intro. Hi folks, Gamertag-based All-Star here, looking for Xbox 360 related gaming fun. I love 90s music, 80s movies, and a late 30s haircut. Oh, and video games, I like them too. Do you like them? I do. I like them. I'm not weird. Then I waited until a reply popped into the forum chat. Someone from the clan would drop into a game I was playing to, for want of better words, weigh me up. And so it was that during a match of Call of Duty 3, a clan member by the glorious name of General Beaker appeared through the gunfire and smoke like Clint Eastwood probably walked into a McDonald's. He said nothing. I said nothing. He carried on saying nothing, and so did I. And then he left, and somehow I was in. Easiest job interview I ever had. I was now a member of Army of Orion. I was still unsure if we were celebrating a dodgy car, but who cared? The games were on, and it was good. The elevated experience of playing as part of a team immediately hit like a sweet ocean breeze. But as with all ocean breezes, there was already a hint of salt in the air. The soap opera relationships that live within these groups started to become apparent. Power struggles, toxicity, and backbiting were in play. Soon it became a drag, and it also became time to move on. Or rather, it was time to build something of my own. A clan paradise, an oasis among the clan arguments that ruled the desert. or something. My main purpose for getting involved in a clan was to embark on a journey that involved lots of Call of Duty free matches against rival clans. However, almost immediately it was clear Call of Duty 3 was playing permanent second fiddle to Gears of War with the gaming populace. I needed my COD fix, and if that appetite was to be fed, I needed to be the one guiding the course of the clan ship. And so, Warhounds were born. My own little slice of the clan landscape. Sure, it wasn't much, but it was a start. All clans also used initials as an identifier. For example, Army of Orion had been AOC. I realised early on that Warhounds clan would have been WC. Apt, perhaps, but a tad embarrassing. So I hit the spacebar between War and Hounds to become WHC. Much better and not at all trivial. Soon I was welcoming other new clan members. We'd become a group of 20 gamers, 19 of which all wanted to play Gears of War. And so it was that Gears became the staple diet, with a COD side dish dropped in from time to time. But I was happy. The site looked decent, if basic. We had a good reputation as a friendly and fair bunch, and as kind of an easy win, due to many of our team being deep into alcohol-induced oblivion by the time most matches kicked off. And then it all started to go a bit EastEnders, with better plot lines, of course. It's strange how quickly silly little irritants escalate and threaten to bring the walls crashing in, but it happened. Bickering began, odd little feuds on the forums between members whose personalities could do little but clash. A strange atmosphere in the online air. Can you smell the tension? Members began to avoid one another in games, side groups were forming within the bigger clan picture, occasionally it all broke out into verbal warfare, and there was the clan member who left mid-clan match to fix his shed. And then he left the clan altogether a couple of days later, being unable to fully accept the shed-relating piss-taking that took place whenever he appeared. Before long, the nights of laughter, free-flowing alcohol and good times had evaporated, and in came arguments and bad feeling. The strong bonds that had been formed, the memories of matches and the free-flowing conversation in the forums were blown apart like a clan member shedding strong gusting winds. The members began to drift, and ultimately I too jumped ship, leaving the clan in the hands of those still clinging on to something that had long since evaporated. 1 year had passed. The end of Warhound signalled the end of my own interest in the whole clan thing. It looked good on paper, but it was a little like rocking up to a youth club in the 80s and immediately wishing you were back at home reading Roy of the Rovers and drinking Vimto. Why is that big kid with the scar staring at me? Clans can be wonderful things, I'm sure, full of memorable moments and unforgettable characters, great places to build friends lists of like-minded gamers, great places to build sheds. A place for big laughs too, loads of them, but when it goes wrong, it crumbles fast. I always look back on my clan days with fondness, but I was never into soap operas, and that has yet to change. Toys, huh? What are they good for? Absolutely pitching them against one another in a two-player battle for land and power that is so Moorish. If it were made by Ben & Jerry's, I'd be throwing up everywhere. Toy Battle is a thing of utter joy and beauty, beauty and joy. A duel between those classic enemies of red versus blue. Why these two hate each other so is a perpetual mystery. Or maybe it's just that whenever red and blue mix, purple turns up. Ugh. Anyway, Toy Battle, yes. A box so delightful it should be aired on 80s BBC at Christmas time. This is a bit special. 2 players, red and blue respectively, face off on a variety of battlefields in a bid for supremacy. What does supremacy look like? Well, collecting victory medals to the lucky number of 7, or taking an enemy HQ by force, cunning, or a heady mix of force and cunning. Supremacy also looks like a big silly grin, or at least it does whenever I win, which is the amount of occasionally times. Players face off with a matching selection of toys in their reserve. These include staples of childhood play, Captain, the army soldier, Roxy, the fire-breathing T-Rex, and a pirate monkey, plus many more. Anyway, from a starting hand of either 3 troops for the starting player, or 4 troops for player 2, each will either play a toy to the battlefield or draw an extra 2 to their hand, and that's it. The goal is to either create an unbroken path from your home HQ to the enemy HQ and burn it to the ground, well, place a tile on top of it to clinch victory, or if you manage to surround any of the medals dotted about the map with your own toys, you collect them. Get 7 and it's time for the victory dance. Kind of like the chicken dance, but with extra golding. It's genuinely that simple, and that is by and large why this game is so utterly joyful and deliciously Moorish. A typical game might take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. Within that small time frame, so much is going on. Strategies are being built, torn down, rebuilt, demolished, and eventually tossed to the wind as the power struggles shift between these primary coloured armies of playthings. And when one player places that rainbow unicorn or Viking rubber ducky on the opponent's HQ, grins wide and launches into the chicken dance with extra golding, the other player is already setting up for another battle. I love this game like it's one of my own children. Not my favourite children, but one of the middle ones. And it all comes down to that feeling of playing something that initially feels kind of okay, this is interesting, to ultimately, whoa, this is a seriously replayable, strategic and slightly luck-based package of magnificence. It's slick and it's simple, which is wonderful in board game terms, but not so great in road surface and bus driver combos. The game ships with a bunch of double-sided map boards where each map has its own tweak on the rules to add an extra layer of strategic thinking, and also makes this package even more of a solid gold purchase. What's more, it's a classic family game. One that adults and kids can both play in no time at all, and one that will almost certainly have the players delighted with its simplicity. And by that, I mean you rarely have to open the lovely small rulebook to check anything out. Yay. Toy Battle is glorious. It's a happy place, a comfort blanket. It's gentle rain on a caravan roof. It's finding an extra galaxy caramel hiding under a sea of bounties. It's pretty good. Really pretty good. During my own plays, I had some epics. By epics, I mean back and forth struggles that lasted a cool 11 minutes. And I had moments where I was undone in 2 minutes flat by focusing on my opponent's attack as they sneakily found another route and swiped all the goodies from my HQ. As they danced like a particularly smug chicken, I was already setting up again. The bottom line with Toy Battle is, if you like quick, strategic fun with a dollop of luck packaged in the neatest box I ever did see, with art by Paul Maffeyan that pops like a pipe of Pringles, and game design by Paolo Mori and Alessandro Zucchini that will have them guaranteed seats in Valhalla. If they haven't already, I don't pay enough mind to game designers despite reaping so much reward from them, then this game is for you. Play it at home, take it on holiday, buy it dinner, propose marriage, and choose the chicken dance on the big day. Because this one is a stayer. The following edition of Desert Island Gamer was recorded in 2020. Welcome, dear listener, to Desert Island Gamer. One desert island, one guest, 3 games they adore, 1 game they abhor, and a carefully selected gaming character with which to spend an eternity of moonlit walks along the beach. It could be weird, it could be unhinged, and it could have crappy sound quality. But at least it will be short. To the island. Today we welcome Laurie, aka YouTube's Kiwi in Japan.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
It is our pleasure. You've got so much going on. I'm just amazed how you managed to fit it all in.
Life in Japan is it's exciting if you go out and look for new opportunities. So yes, I am at work, but then when I come back, if it's a quiet day, I want to stream or I want to go for a run. But if I've got a bit more energy, I like to go out and go to a restaurant or go and see like Nipponbashi, which is the anime hub in Osaka where I live. I know that there's so much going on in a big city, and I come from a small town in New Zealand. And so being in Osaka is life-changing to me.
There is that exuberance in the videos. They're all very life-affirming videos, very positive, upbeat, and just excitement exudes at every corner.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I've got some friends who do some vlogging, but it's very much, I don't know, it feels scripted. It feels very, hey guys, welcome to my video. And so I'm just very natural. I'm just like, oh, hello, today I'm going to eat some food. And I love anime. I'm going to get some Kimetsu no Yaiba stuff. And yeah.
It works. It works. It's an absolute treat.
Yes.
What an adventure you're on at the moment, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do my best to share everything that I get up to, but some things I like to keep to myself. I don't make a video out of.
One video, obviously, that caused ripples all over the place and a ridiculous amount of viewers was your spider video.
That's right.
And to be honest, looking at it, it's got everything. Let's face it, we've got horror, we've got drama, we've even got a chase scene in there and a little bit of heartbreak.
And there's no cuts in that video either. I didn't do any editing.
Yeah,
it's all one take and everything seemed to flow perfectly.
This is like Tarantino at his finest. I'm not sure if you're aware, though, you are supposed to run away from a spider when it starts moving, not chase
well,
it.
my friends were terrified. So when they said, look at the spider, I was just like, film me. I'm going to go in there and get rid of it.
Yeah. I mean, when the spider first appears on screen, it is kind of like, wow.
Oh boy. I wasn't prepared for how big that was going to be, but yeah.
What was it like, obviously, after the video went up, watching those numbers start to roll?
In the first month, it was like a normal vlog video that I've done. It's gone from to about 300 or 800 views. In the month of November, it started going to 2,000. And I was like, okay, this is something special. And in December, it just one day was 150,000. And I was like, what is going on? So I made a reaction video reading some of the comments. And even then I'm like, wow, 350,000, so much. But now it went into the millions and it's insane. I don't know why. YouTube's algorithm is just kindly smiling on me going, massive spider. That's what people want to see.
Everyone loves a massive spider chase. Definitely. It's not the other way around, having said that. But back on gaming, because that's where we're going to be going soon. Where do you come from as a gamer?
Well, I guess as a young child, I borrowed a friend's Game Boy Color. I borrowed a friend's Nintendo 64. So I was a Nintendo boy growing up.
Okay.
Eventually, I got my own Nintendo 64, and this was when the GameCube had already come out. So I was one console behind, going to secondhand shops, finding those Nintendo 64 cartridges, and basically seeing the picture on the cover. Oh, Mystical Ninja starring Geoman? I like ninjas. Go home and play it, and realize, oh, this is not what I thought it would be like at all. I like it. So I kind of just bought whatever I saw in a secondhand store. But sometimes I'd Google beforehand. Like I knew I wanted to get my hands on Banjo-Kazooie and Pokemon Stadium. And eventually I did. But yeah, I was usually always one console behind.
What was the last game you remember that hit you emotionally?
I think I'd have to say Get Amped 2 Evolution.
Whoa, I'm not aware of this.
So there's this online game that I played for 7 years called Get Amped 2, and my early YouTube videos are all this game. That's basically where I come from, and it's a classic. And I'm glad that the game's getting some new life.
Are you seeing like faces from the past as well? The same faces coming back in?
Yes, lots of people have joined the Get Amped 2 Evolution Discord server and have said like, Laurie, I remember your old videos. It's good to see you're here.
Oh, that's nice.
And the moderators are very driven. They want it to not be pay to win because the original game was. For me, it's heartwarming to see this old dying game having new life.
Okay, let's cut to the chase. Laurie, what would be your first game?
Oh, well, I hate to mention it twice, but Get Amped 2, if I can bring it online.
That's absolutely cool.
Online game. Do I have Wi-Fi on the island?
The island, it's like the island in Lost. Many mysterious things, including Wi-Fi, exist.
Well, online games might have to be a big thing. I mean, I loved RuneScape and MapleStory, but Get Amped 2 is the online game I've spent 7 years of my life playing with such a small following, but it's a fighter game. It's not so much like Street Fighter and Tekken. It's not too like side-on fighting. You can run around in a 3D plane. And so the fights are so dynamic. And the game also has a skin-making functionality. So if you're an artist and you want to play as, I don't know, Spike from Cowboy Bebop, if you've got like the artist potential to use polygons and draw on like MS Paint, you can make a custom skin. Yeah, so it's really, really good creativity.
Like you said, it had a small following. So did you find in a competitive game online, did you build bonds and enemies out there?
Oh, I'll tell you what, Get Amped 2 is probably one of the most toxic games I've ever been in. But I love it to bits. Like, you will meet the nicest people who are like your family in the same guild as you. I was the leader of a guild called Luna, which by the end of the game's life was the #1 guild, which after 7 years, I was like, oh, finally, we've made it. But there were also some people who were they would gang you, like 2 people versus 1 or 3 people versus 1, punch, 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 and you couldn't break out of a combo.
Right.
So some people just played unfairly and they talked smack to each other. But at the same time, that's what gave the game such strong life.
Did you find yourself a target? People knew your name and they would come after you?
Yeah, people would always, lots of people just thought, oh, it's Laurie Moon. He makes YouTube videos. We hate him.
Right.
But there was absolutely no justification.
No rational.
You were well known in the game, so... And I didn't say I was a pro at the game. I was pretty average at it, really. But lots of people were just like, oh, Laurie thinks he's so good. But I just had an audience, I suppose. Yeah.
Perfect. That's a great first choice. What would be game 2?
I was thinking about this because I knew Get Amp 2 right off the bat, but my second game would maybe be Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley. It's a farming simulator game. I've played through this game at least 3 or 4 times with 100 hours each.
Wow.
And every time I play the game, I think, now I'm going to have a duck farm. I'm only allowed to have ducks. Like I'll start off with some fruit and veg, but then I'm only having ducks or something.
Yes.
Or I'll be like, this time I'm going to get to the bottom of the mines. I'm going to fight all the monsters. One time I played it again on co-op, so I'd only play it if I was with friends. It's a lot of goal setting. Like the game can be very boring, or you can decide what to make it.
Which is probably the beauty of it. And it's so different from your first choice. I mean, you've gone from this conflict to this tranquil little...
It can either be a solo experience or a co-op game, and you can have lots of people on your farm helping out. But yeah, I also don't know if I'd be growing real crops on my island. So I don't know if I'd want to play a farming game and then also go to my life on the island. You know?
You have the companion as well. I mean, so it's co-op.
True.
It is a game I enjoy myself. It's kind of one of them, you can just switch off. Well, not switch off as you play, but the outside world kind of melts away for a few.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Like time sort of flows past you and you're just, I'll do another day.
Yeah. Another great choice. You're on fire here today, Laurie.
Oh, thank you.
But there's always game 3.
I thought long and hard about this one because I thought of different choices, but I think I'm going to have to go with Zelda Ocarina of Time. When I borrowed a Nintendo 64 from my friend, which I mentioned, the 2 games were Lilac Wars, which is also known as Star Fox 64.
Yep.
And Ocarina of Time. And so I would always play Ocarina of Time. I think I got it when I was about 7 or 8. I was too scared to fight the bosses. I would give my mum the controller and be like, fight the Deku Tree boss. I'm too scared. It's too dark in this cave. The Shadow Temple was terrifying. Even until I was like in my 13, I guess. But it was good. At its core, Ocarina of Time is a puzzle game. All Zelda games are puzzle games, disguised as a role-playing game, kind of. And some of those puzzles can be really difficult. You'll be doing a puzzle and then you'll be like, you know what, I'm going to leave. You'll walk around the town, you'll find some more hearts, and then you'll go back to the puzzle and give it another go.
I almost feel ashamed to admit this, but I've only really played one Zelda game.
Which one?
The old Super Nintendo.
Oh my goodness.
And you know what? I adored it. It was absolutely brilliant. And then I've kind of fired up Zelda games since. Breath of the Wild most recently.
I would recommend some of the older Zelda games.
Yeah, I still have a Super Nintendo, so maybe I can dig out something. Why for you Ocarina of Time above all the other Zeldas?
For me, it's just the one that I played a ton in my childhood before I could even really comprehend what I'm supposed to do in a video game.
Oh, perfect.
You know? So sometimes the objective was you're supposed to go to this dungeon and fight this boss, but I'd be like, I'm going to go and walk in the farm. I'm going to get some milk. I'd give myself personal goals. I'm going to stay up all night and fight the skeletons in Hyrule Field. I'd just be doing whatever as a kid. That felt like the biggest adventure.
And is it kind of, I guess now, if you were to fire that up now, is it almost like this little time machine that'll take you back to your childhood?
Yeah, I think so. Like I would definitely, anywhere in the game, I would remember like the back of my hand. I'd know exactly what I need to do.
Yeah.
But I'd still love it, you know?
I'm going to give you that. It's another great choice. I'm sure there'll be very few people out there who would argue against that being a universe.
Oh, yeah.
But we need to get a bit darker now. You have to pick something to go on the fire to keep you warm at night. And which game is going to be burnt?
I considered this, and you know what? Maybe it's a little bit harsh, but Beyond Two Souls.
Oh,
Quantic Dream. Beyond Two Souls.
I know this game very well.
I loved Heavy Rain. I loved Heavy Rain to bits. I played through it multiple times. I loved Nam and Jaden, FBI. And I loved the multiple endings. And even though I knew, spoiler, I knew who the killer was after so many playthroughs, I went back and played it through again to see what else was going on. What if I took another path? But Beyond Two Souls was announced as, the new game from Quantic Dream. It's going to be like Heavy Rain. But I just thought it was so linear. You saw Ellen Page's character talking, like it kept jumping between the past and the present and the future. Yep. And so when you went to the past, you knew she wasn't going to die because she was at the end. If you fail a QTE, a quick time event, you just get another chance. You cannot lose this game.
That never occurred to me while I was playing it, and now
and
I don't know why.
The multiple choices that you make. Oh, your boyfriend will lose his eye. He loses his eye, but the exact same events happen. He just now doesn't. He just wears an eye patch now. It gives the impression of choices and then comes back to the same point. And so, unlike Heavy Rain, I was like, this is ridiculous. I played through the whole game, like 20 hours, and I was just like, that's it, really? And then I played it again so I could get the other ending, and I was just like, oh, okay, that's a bit silly.
I can I can relate to that. I did complete Heavy Rain. I didn't complete Beyond Two Souls, probably for the same reasons. Although, I have to admit, I found Heavy Rain to be probably the most depressing game I've ever played. It really,
it is
good.
very depressing,
There is
but that's drama for you. I love drama films. Yeah.
There's just that is a game where there's almost no light at all. Even at the start, I found it depressing when you're walking around getting ready for the day.
Yeah, and that's meant to be joyous as well. It's meant to be a sunny morning. The kids are coming home.
I just found it really.
You're like, oh no, I'm in purgatory.
Beyond Two Souls, burnt on the flames, and probably rightly so. We have discussed it before as well.
Sorry, Quantic Dream.
You need a character companion, and who is joining you on the island?
I didn't really give it too much thought. I chose the obvious answer, but Kenta or Goose from Dobetsu no Mori, Animal Crossing.
Right.
So Goose is a chicken, and he's a jock. He's good-spirited. He's wholesome. He's always like, hey, bro, I've been lifting weights all morning. He's on an island from the latest Animal Crossing game, New Horizons. So I just thought, Goose is my favorite animal companion on Animal Crossing. He'd be great on the real island as well.
And at any point were you thinking Goose is a chicken, we have a fire?
No. Well, he's a pretty big boy. He's a big
is he? He can handle himself.
If I want a fancy treat, maybe. When I first met Goose, I thought he was annoying because he was just like, hey, bro, how's it going? I'm busting a sweat. I thought it was annoying, but after a while, I was like, he's too wholesome. He's always so energetic.
Were there any games that nearly made either list?
Instead of Zelda, I was thinking Skyrim, because Skyrim is similar in which you can go on a big adventure. You can explore this massive world, kind of like Ocarina of Time, but it's even bigger. And I think with Skyrim, I had the same sense of wonder as an adult that I had a sense of wonder with Zelda as a child. If we can include mods into Skyrim, it's even more exciting. You can add new quests and armor and weapons, and the game just becomes massive.
Yeah, it's a great choice.
But each quest line is it's like its own lengthy game, pretty much. I nearly put Skyrim, but Zelda's a bit more personal to me, I feel.
I always liked how they used to also bring you from some sort of dingy, like Fallout did as well, from some sort of interior space out into this massive world, just to get your dropping awe-inspiring moment at the beginning of every game, which was so good. Yeah,
Bethesda is wonderful, making such good games.
Well, that is fantastic. I hugely appreciate your time. Some great choices. In fact, I don't think you had a poor choice there. I'm not sure about chicken, but the chicken's questionable.
Maybe I should have given it more thought. Oh, well.
Everyone loves chicken. No, it's cool. All that's left to say is thank you very much, Laurie. And until next time, goodbye.
Thank you so much. Take care.
For someone not particularly partial to a slice of two-player board game shenanigans, here I am dropping another two-player game review in the inaugural Cardboard and Pixels podcast. Man, if my teachers could see me now, they'd be all like, told you, and I'd be all like, shut up. Anyway, let's get monstrously delicious with a little gem known as Monstrolicious. A game that I'm bringing to the table today as not only is it a delightfully simple little nugget of gaming goodness, it's also a game that demands you cram just one more bite of it into your day. The basics, and basic they are, is that each player has cards depicting little monsters numbered 1 to 12 and a single trap card with which to go boom. But more on that in a moment. Between the players is a scoring track highlighting how many yummy victory points each location is worth. Players simply take it in turns to play cards face down to locations. If they are the sole card there at game's end, they score the points. Highest total wins. Let's take a moment to gaze at that sweet simplicity again. Okay. Of course, there is a bit more going on. For a kickoff, the monsters can have a kickoff. If you play a card to an already taken space, it's time for a bout of fisticuffs. The playing player drops their card in, then checks the value of their opponent's face down card. If they win, they place their card face down and take the space. If they lose, they discard their monster and flip the opponent face up. Well, you all know the value now anyway, right? And that is a very streamlined way to get your combat on. It works, it keeps the pace of play at a brisk jog, and it's easy to teach. Elsewhere, a few of the spaces on the score track have additional abilities for the controlling player that activate when they control the spot. These range from bonuses such as being able to peek at a single opponent's face down card, to gaining additional points and winning all ties. All very handy in the battle between monsters to control what I think is the power to consume most donuts. A power I have tapped into personally on many an occasion. Finally, the traps basically go bang whenever revealed and wipe out the trap and the monster foolish enough to trigger it. So, where are we? Well, I'm all in. However, there are caveats at play. Reasons to love this game on a personal level are many. Playing it is quick-paced, mildly strategic, slightly luck-flavoured affair that had me and my opponents keen to always set up a new play as soon as one ended. It can be taught in a few minutes and the rulebook can be tucked away. A game takes maybe 5 to 10 minutes and each is littered with a lovely ebb and flow where you are carried in on tides of "I've got this in the bag," muhaha, before being carried out to sea in a riptide of all-out panic and despair, as best-laid plans come a-crumbling like those now-distant sandcastles on the fading beach. Who's that waving and smiling at us? It's also a brilliant two-player family game that, due to its simplicity and having no appetite for eating time, always avoids the youthful distractions of boredom and attention spans moulded by YouTube shorts. And it's a looker. Great vibrant artwork by Doug Kovacs, coupled with Richard Garfield's game design savvy, means Monstrolicious is pretty much ticking what I want from a quick-fire two-player filler game. But look, of course it won't tickle every taste bud. The look of the draw does come into play, often undermining any attempts at strategic thinking, and it's also so airy light it should be attached to a floating house in a Disney Pixar movie, meaning there's little to no real crunch to decisions. Rather, you are almost relying on your opponent to make poor choices, at least poorer than the ones you've already made. But who cares? This game isn't aiming for cerebral head-scratching, it's targeting good old-fashioned, often unsung fun. And in that respect, it's nailed the bullseye and Jim Bowen is already wheeling out Speedboat. Is that reference too dated? Monstrolicious is fun, fast, and fiercely competitive for the entire 7 or 8 minutes it's in play. I like it a lot. And if you're seeking a two-player filler that never outstays its welcome, wipes its feet before coming in, and actually brings donuts instead of eating all your Jaffa Cakes, then I say get this in the collection. Today, I am here to fight to the death on behalf of a gaming opinion I've held for some considerable time. Like, at least 10 years. At least. And here it is. Online FPS games only get better and better the more people bugger off and settle in on the latest installment, leaving the aging battlefields to us diehards. Picture this. Some distant Christmas, one of those where it snowed on Christmas Eve just as Muppets Christmas Carol was coming on the TV, where brass bands played on the edge of town halls and Santa in the town grotto had a real beard. You know the sort. Heady chestnut-roasted days of Yuletide joy and silent nights. Anyway, on just such a Christmas, I was gifted the brutal World War II shooter Call of Duty 3. Very festive. It was the first year I entered the good-natured Xbox Live playing fields and found out via a lot of other players that my mum was a no-good. How did they know? The game itself was great. Packed lobbies, magical maps, Ida Dam and Poisson anyone? The Car 98 headshots were a borderline sexual experience. I say borderline, I'm not some weirdo. And it stayed that way for a good few months, until Modern Warfare dropped, and in unison, so did the player count on COD 3. But I stuck with my beloved World War II shooter, and I began to notice something. Where players had once been a fleeting meeting for the duration of a match, and maybe the odd mumsler, the same names were popping up again and again. And although I was unaware at the time, the birth of something magnificent was happening. More Call of Duties landed, more players left the old guard behind, but not all. Call of Duty 3 had become the real magic number. As the same players inhabited the same spaces and built the skill set honed over years of play, something beautiful took hold. Real friendships formed, but better than that, real enemies were born. We all had a nemesis or four in the lobbies. We all knew which players was considered the legends. We all wanted to gun for the top. We all knew each other, if not personally, at least by name and reputation. What was once a universe of strangers had become a village of beef and competition, and it was glorious. And this is my take. Beating strangers is cool, but the moment is short-lived before a new group of unknowns are facing you. But beating players you've run against countless times before matters so much more. It hits different. It hits the sweet spot. It's still not quite sexual because we're still not weirdos, but man, it tastes like gaming nectar. And this is why I will forever defend the notion that a Call of Duty game or similar shooter or any online community need a cool 3 years plus and multiple emerging new franchise games to draw people away until it ultimately ages into the finest of headshot-flavoured wines you'll ever taste. And that was it. Thank you for joining me for this first ever Cardboard Pixels podcast. We hope to do this every 2 weeks. So in a fortnight, there'll be some more mediocrity, adequate mediocrity, coming straight to your ears. See you next time. Well, we won't see you, but you'll hear us, and bye.